Hello. We have a new chapter of One Piece. This is very, very late because I was away in Montreal for all of last week and I hadn't had a chance to read it. Fortunately, I didn't really have a chance to go on the internet much at all, so nothing has been spoiled for me, and I feel like this is a chapter that is going to have some very intense, spoilable, emotional, climactic scenes. Because we're kind of reaching the climax of the flashback arc for Kuma. We're getting to the point where there isn't much left to bridge the gap between what we've seen and what we know exists in the present. But what we do know is that some horrible things are going to happen between then and now. Some pretty tragic things, the total eradication of Kuma's free will, but then also some pretty base things like whatever deep state programming, or anti-deep state programming, I should say, Vegapunk was able to sneak into Kuma to subvert the wishes of the world government. The other reason that I think this one is going to be crazy is because it is a multiple of 100, and often Oda goes nuts on these chapters, and it feels like he has been setting himself up another opportunity to do so. It's gonna be, I don't know, it might be pretty sad, it might be pretty heartbreaking, it might have some huge revelations. Let's dive into it. It's called Thank You Bonnie, which also sounds incredibly heartbreaking. Our cover page is Usopp hanging out with Sanji as he chops up vegetables, thinking about his buds way back in Syrup Village. The Usopp pirate crew, haven't seen these guys in quite a while. I'm really happy these viewer requests, reader requests, whatever, are highlighting some characters that are overlooked in these really, really early arcs. It's just nice to see them again. They must have grown up quite a bit since then. I don't know if we've seen them post time skip. We must have at some point in just one of those checking in around the world type barrages. Anyways, Noda Skywalker. This person has asked for a lot of requests, I think. I recognize that name. Okay. Okay. Business that brings me here today, not pleasure. So they're in Future Land. Can't remember the name. Not Baltigo. But this is the one that Frankie got Popod to. Plan to recreate the very future of humanity. In fact, I'm having difficulty keeping all the ideas flow endlessly from my mind. So this is kind of anticipating that he's going to have to make the Stella system. Stuff is getting too crazy. Recreate the very future of humanity is like a very grammatically odd sentence in terms of recreating the future. Here we see Kizaru, fully admiralized, unlike when he was, just a lower ranking Marine hanging out with... what's his face there? Sumo Man. I can't think of his name. But, hanging out with him in Vegapunk in that other flashback we saw. Don't even know every inch of this laboratory yet. Can't have you negotiating with pirates in secret. So they are indeed being spied on by the world government here. These shots of Vegapunk from above where you see the full scope of his brain are crazy. Here we see X-Drake, I believe, moving up his way in the military. His schemes of being a quintuple agent still further away. We get Vegapunk's huge-ass head here. Pirate with a almost 300 million berry bounty on his head. Okay, so this is where he becomes the Shichibukai. Makes sense. You can see they're talking to Saint J. Garcia on the Denden Mushi there, of course. The Denden Mushi always taking on the characteristics of Who's Calling. Of course, my theory is that the Denden Mushi will be explained to be something from the ancient kingdom, which possessed superior technology that was lost to time. Over time, the Denden Mushi went from a purely artificial being created by those intelligent humans into this species that just crawls upon the earth. I think that would be a very fun little surprise when we finally learn more about that kingdom. A rookie named Ace recently knocked out one of the 7. We've been searching for a replacement. Nice little cross, kind of keeping us in the time frame. A little flashback stories interfering. Who is it that Ace knocked out? Has that ever been said? I don't think so, because we don't know about anybody who held the title before our current, or the 7 that was there at the start of the series. I don't think we ever heard about, oh yeah, so-and-so used to be in there too. So I don't think we know this. This is new info. It could be something that's in the Ace novel. There's a kind of quasi-canon novel written about Ace's adventures that I know very little about. But maybe that's covered in there, and this is Oda's sneaky little way of canonizing that story. I don't know. Okay. Kuma becomes a warlord. You must be a human weapon for the Navy. Have them augment my body. New qualities will make you a menace to other pirates. Kuma also has a prior record of revolutionary activity. We can't have that power turned against the world government. My third condition is that you must ultimately abandon your mind and free will. Yes, yes. We knew this was coming. We knew that this is what is going to make Saint J. Garcia into such... He was already a villain, but, made Bonnie want to stab him as soon as she saw him, disregarding her own safety. And this is what was clarified to her, is that this wasn't Vegapunk's idea. This wasn't Vegapunk's doing. It was Saint J. Garcia. Asking him to die. Because you can't control the other 7 warlords at a whim. Moving the human will from a cyborg just turns it into a simple robot. Asking me to kill this man. 3 conditions to have your daughter's life safe. And Kuma, of course, relieved. These are all things within his control. Now, this is maybe a little unbased of Kuma. There's this... It's time for a little bit of a tangent here, okay? I thought of this a lot when watching Avatar: The Way of Water 2, which is a movie I overall really, really liked. And it's come up in One Piece vaguely, but never this directly. This idea that you have a story that is largely about the virtues of revolutionary activity, like One Piece or Avatar, that's all about, rising up as a coalition of individuals against this overwhelming negative force, this overwhelming fascist evil or whatever, right? So it's like that is seen as a noble goal that is worthy of self-sacrifice, that is trumps, wanting to live comfortably or just wanting to get yours or any other kind of like pursuit. All of those are secondary to the revolution in terms of just moral righteousness. But then trumping revolutionary activity, being even more important than that, is family. It's okay to abandon the cause, to compromise your revolutionary activity, to even sell out your comrades to varying extents for family. And I don't know about that. Kuma here is becoming a weapon that will be wielded against his former comrades for the sake of saving his daughter. The daughter saving is so righteous and pure and loving that it trumps all those other things. Am I saying that that's wrong? I don't even know, because I think this is the fullest extent of the revolutionary power of love, and that all revolutionary activity comes from a place of love, of loving humanity, of loving freedom, of loving people being able to live their life to their fullest, of loving your comrades. And so if we become servants to that great love and devote ourselves to revolutionary activities, who are we to say, okay, but that even greater love that you feel for your family is invalid? I don't know. I really just don't know. Like, I don't really have a strong take on this. I just think it's interesting. And it's interesting to me that this question of whether or not this is valid doesn't really come up all that often. Like, it doesn't come up, like, at all in Avatar. Jake Sully does absurd things and puts so many people's lives in jeopardy and puts their entire civilization in jeopardy to save his kids on like multiple occasions. And this is treated as just and heroic. It's never really questioned. And I'm not going to say that's like a flaw of the movie because, again, this is just sort of our cultural expectation. But it would be interesting for me to see something like actually address that question. And maybe this will. Maybe this will. Maybe this is what Vegapunk... I think, though, he's more talking about, oh, wow, you would sacrifice your life. But it's not really about Kuma sacrificing his life. It would be very different if Kuma said, okay, the third condition is just, you just straight up kill me. Sure. That's one thing. But to turn me into a weapon that will be used against my comrades, I think is like a totally different scenario. And I don't know if that's really going to be addressed. I'll gladly accept any fate if it means curing Bonnie's disease. But what about your comrades? What about your buds in the Revolutionary Army? Will they accept having to fight a robot version of you? I mean, all of this is kind of moot anyways because we know Kuma's programming becomes subversive and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Oh, there's Sentomaru. Sentomaru. That's the guy's name, right? Yeah. How long will it take for Kuma's augmentation and the full treatment of his daughter's disease? Half a year to treat the sapphire scales, another full year before she can go outside safely, a year and a half altogether. For Kuma's procedure, 2 years at least. Bonnie will be cured by her 10th birthday. That's what he inadvertently promised her in order to cover up the more horrifying thing he was really saying. Think of your daughter as our hostage. When she is cured, you will have no other reason to obey us. Okay. Take custody of her after her treatment. Her freedom will only be granted when you've fully lost your free will. Yeah. So this is the conditions that led Kuma to behave as he did. I don't know if we're gonna get the scene that I keep predicting where the robot Kuma is forced to reign over his kingdom in a horrific tyrant way and mistreat all the poor old people that he had cured before. I don't know. I think maybe instead he is just going to rampage over the seas, destroying pirate crews and stuff. But yeah, they've got a massive dagger hanging over his head. I'll never meet with her, but I have just one request. I don't want Bunny to know about her disease or the fact that she's being held hostage. Once Bunny's surgery is not done, she's not held in some drab government facility in the comfort of the Church of Sorbet where she grew up. Okay, so he never goes back to Sorbet Kingdom, I guess is what this is saying. I don't know, but again, it's like they're doing all this negotiation, but we know that St. J. Garcia is like a big fat liar, and he doesn't care at all about upholding any aspect of this that he doesn't have to, and it could be just totally reneged at any point. Brutal and stupid and insane. Mean, awful government goons. You will see your comeuppance in real life and One Piece. Okay. So he comes up with another convenient lie. There's Sentomaru. She addresses Kuma as if she was just addressing me. Aitsu probably, she says. Lots of rooms with no windows here. Oh, she likes that because that means she can run around. Okay. Vegapunk going crazy with the potential offered by Robot Kuma perfect weapon. And this seems, yeah, this is when the Stella system really, really becomes necessary for him. Kuma getting robotized. Bonnie getting treated. This weirdly kind of idyllic life. They're building up more and more and more of the lab. It's oddly comfy, these scenes. I don't know. I think this is something pretty masterful about all of this Vegapunk saga that's unfolding, is like we've seen the context of his lab change so many times. We've seen these kind of crazy sci-fi areas in so many circumstances where sometimes they're this place of joy and freedom and discovery. Sometimes it holds this revolutionary potential. Other times it's this oppressive government institute. Other times it's like a The Thing style thriller where a betrayer is lurking among the test tubes and beakers, sabotaging the schemes. And now it's this kind of like comfy, long domestic bliss where Kuma and Bonnie can hang out and build stuff and dick around, and Kuma knows something terrible is coming and Bonnie doesn't, but they are just living out their days like this. It's fascinating. There's the big glutton chowing down on a big pizza. Even Vegapunk has stopped to eat. We see a little robot servitor looking thing here. I think maybe this could be the start of the Stella system. They're dancing into the night. The Dum Du Da Da could... Is that the Drums of Liberation? Probably not. Good as new. Can I visit when I'm cured? She ended up visiting Vegapunk once cured as agent of assassination. Okay. Better by age 10. Here we see this guy that ends up joining Bonnie's crew when she sent sail. Old bag Connie is here. It's all so nice. I'm sure nothing sad will happen in the next 8 pages. Pirate now, so I can't stay in the country. Ooh, Cipher Pole number 8. That's interesting. We don't see the other Cipher Poles all that often. 8 is pretty high ranked, right behind CP9 and CP0. Her name is Alpha, which is a badass name, and I'm surprised that it's being used on what I imagine is a pretty small side character. Okay, Nurse Alpha. Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you for being born. Kuma knows this is where he has to say goodbye forever. First to Bonnie, and then soon after to his own life. But such is the depth of his self-sacrifice. What hasn't been addressed, though, is that this is a huge thorn in the side of the Revolutionary Army to give up Kuma's brain, his autonomy, his free will, and to have his immense strength wielded against him. Called this pirate a tyrant, but Bartholomew Kuma was utterly faithful to his orders from above. His presence among the 7 warlords terrified the pirates of the world. We get to see all of our other warlords in action. That's quite fun. Doflamingo hanging out. Crocodile. Mihawk. Mihawk maybe having just destroyed the ship of Chef Zeph. Or no, not Chef Zeph. Sorry. What am I saying? The dude that attacked Chef Zeph, whose name is... Oh, you know. Well, you know, that guy. Aldiva, arguing, intimidating Kobe. Alvida, sorry. He's as big as Whitebeard, they say. He's pretty big. Already got a replacement lined up. Who are you to talk? Yeah, it's your fault, I guess. Active king in the lineup as well. Yeah, Doflamingo. I like this little shot, though, of the Whitebeard pirates hanging out with Jinbei. Matters not to me. I'll never go to Central. This is so cool. I think they've really done a good job just in these panels conveying so much of the personality of these warlords, even though the warlord system is gone and most of these characters are not super relevant. They managed to capture like the mystique and the feeling of strength of them, seeing them again after so long, their distinct personalities, their distinct appearances and stuff, what they were up to in life, their own ambitions, and I don't know. I'm just very impressed with the economy of this. This shot of Gecko Moria especially just makes you think of this. You know, you read it and your imagination is so sparked of who is this mysterious figure? Who is this weird ghosty girl floating around him? Why is he just posted up, pieced out, sleeping on this big bed? Like, what's going on? And then you're like, wait! We already know exactly what's going on. That was a whole arc already. That was Thriller Bark. We saw this guy get his ass beat, but it's like it's like being shown to us as if we haven't seen it yet. Like, it's being shown to us in this flashback, still showing the mystique and the mystery and the power potential of Gecko Moria. This is so cool. This is so cool. Okay, anyways, yeah. So the revolutionaries are confused and pissed off because Kuma is becoming now a tool of the world government. And they don't get it. And that's valid. This is the Kuma ship with a flag clearly drawn by Bonnie. They're able to travel now, being more famous, but I'm doing well. How is everyone while I'm traveling the world? Find many places to take you once you've turned 10. And we see young Luffy fucking with... Oh, what the heck? Okay, so this is after... So Kuma was chilling out outside of Windmill Village where Luffy grew up. This is after the whole thing with Sabo already. Sabo is already MIA, Ace is off at sea, Luffy is already met Shanks, he's about ready to set sail. But something else happens in his village involving Kuma? What? What could it be? What could it be? Because we kind of have a full timeline for Luffy. Is there something else he's going to do? Is it just a coincidence that he was by Windmill Village? And we saw young Luffy running about. Is this the first time Luffy has shown up in a flashback like this? It's kind of surreal, you know? Just seeing him as another piece of the whole world unfolding. Man, One Piece is so complex. Just the layers of narrative, the timeline, the geography, the interfering, intersecting paths of all these characters. It's mind-blowing. I feel proud of myself that I can keep it in my head as much as I can. I think it's just a symptom of reading it and rereading it a million times when I was a kid. It imprinted a space into my brain where other people have facial recognition. I instead retain the memory of One Piece as if it was my family's history. Let's look forward to the next chapter. There's still twists to come, I suppose. This one was quite sad, but had some really exciting, fun moments too. And I don't know. I'm still left wondering, dude. What about his comrades? When do we learn about the clandestine extra programming? I don't know. We'll find out. Bye-bye.